What's up, everyone? This is the Fraser podcast, and today we're doing some quick hits NBA, NFL, college sports, and then it's mostly going to be World Cup. So if you only want soccer, fast forward 20 minutes. If you want a little dabble into some NFL, NBA, which you should, then stay for the first 10, 15 minutes. We're going to do best bets, quick previews of the top teams in the World Cup, sneaky bets, underdog bets, and yeah, just overall things to watch for. Sponsored by the way, this podcast sponsored by the Learn with Lukai book series on Amazon, only like $10-11 US. There's Learn with Lukai soccer, basketball, and snowboarding. Hopefully going to add a football here soon, and some maybe a beach day. Some others on the docket, but I've been absolutely getting my ass kicked with my real job. So here we go. I wanted to get Jared on the podcast, but our schedules haven't aligned. I wanted to get another guest. I had a couple famous guests from England that wanted on this, but just the World Cup's only right now. It's June 3rd. It's what, 8 days away. So I need to get this content out. So I couldn't wait around anymore. I just had to do it myself. I'll try and make it entertaining enough for you. Let's see. What do we got? NFL. I mean, Browns trade, Rams trade. Nothing really new to say in real time. I thought it was a great trade for both sides. Browns are far from winning now. The Rams are win now. They get rid of Myles Garrett's salary. He's 31 this year, I believe. So, I mean, they're not going to win by the time he's 33, 34. So they get Jared Verse, young player on a good contract for still another few years, I think, as well, with a fifth-year option. Also, the Browns will get rid of the Watson contract next year. So out of nowhere, in like 1 year, you're out of the Garrett contract and you're out of the Watson contract. I'm a believer in Shedeur Sanders, not like a massive believer, but I think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. However, of course, if he sucks this year completely, or they start Watson, but they both suck, or even they're just mediocre, maybe they land one of these top incredible quarterbacks in next year's draft. So now they've got tons of money to play with, a stud running back, wide receivers, young defense is outrageous, and a new quarterback. It could be something promising, but it's still the Browns, so who knows? The Rams, every year, there's always a team that doesn't have a salary cap. Like, I just don't understand how they're able to sign, the Chiefs cornerback and pay these receivers and now pay Garrett. And then there's talk about Aaron Donald coming back. They've got two incredible wide receivers. Quick stats on them. They had last year's passing touchdown leader or yards or both. But anyways, one of those two. Receiving touchdowns leader in Adams. Receptions leader in Puka. And now they also have the sack leader from last year, all on their team. So I think it rests on Stafford being healthy, which, I mean, last year rested on that and he was fine. So, I mean, ideally, imagine if they'd gotten, I don't think there was an offensive lineman in the first round at the end of the draft. But if they had just like a stud offensive lineman from the first round, how that could help instead of the pick, which I loved. I love the quarterback at Alabama. Sorry, my mind's spinning. It's all soccer. Can't even name my favorite quarterback from last year. A little dart controversy. I'm fine with but I'm going to try not to be liberal here. I'll bring it around to being Republican. It's funny that everything's now liberal or Republican. But I just think it was stupid by Dart. It's like, if it was Trump first term, he was still obviously divisive. Even like Trump 6 months ago. But right now, he's like the most divisive figure on planet Earth. Just a lot of negativity around it. So I just don't know why you would align yourself with that. It's just such a dumb time to do it. Maybe do it in 2 years. I get that Dart said he just appreciates the presidential seat. That's fine. It's just a bad time to do it. And the thing that makes it stupid is he's a leader in a sport on his team that's 90% African American. Like, I'm sure his team's 80 to 90% or more African American. And I can promise you, he probably knows that 70% plus of them hate Trump. Not even just don't like Trump, hate Trump. So I don't understand why you would want to just put yourself in not even politically, in just any sort of stature of life. Like, let's say he it just seemed stupid. It seemed tone deaf, mostly because even you, Jackson, you can like Trump all you want. Um, but why would you make your teammates upset when you know that most of them hate Trump? You'll get plenty of time to be around the presidential seat and whatever else in your lifetime. So right now, and that's the other thing. It'd be kind of odd and rough if Stafford did it, who's like 40 years old. Jackson Dart's basically a rookie, and he's going to do that. So I think it was dumb from a be everyone's favorite person in the locker room standpoint. I've had people in one of my group chats, a minority group chat, being like, I kind of look sideways. I don't. The person does. Anyways, we'll keep my thoughts out of this. But friends are like, they're MAGA friends. They start to kind of look sideways at him, like, after kind of a lot of the divisiveness, which I think is fair. Even my Republicans think Trump's getting a little out there. But anyways, as just Dart, you lead a team of mostly minorities who really don't like Trump. So why would you align yourself with Trump? Which it's fine that you vote for him and do whatever else. Just as a dumb decision. My 2 cents. Pats got AJ Brown. Good for them. Russell Wilson finally is out. Thank God. College football. Went to Texas Tech. We're in the news. Three reasons we're in the news. Softball, World Series. We're in the finals against Texas. Great. Love that. Also, the Texas versus Texas Tech battle, where I think could maybe reshape college football, which we'll get to next. But I wanted to touch on Sorsby, Texas Tech QB, who has all the gambling allegations and is basically going to be kicked out of the league. Right now, a judge is weighing the sentence. I guess I don't know if it's a sentence or it's the his appeal. Real time right now, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2 p.m. And my 2 cents. I don't want Brendan Sorsby on my team. He's an idiot. Fine, gamble. I gamble. He gambled on his own team. He gambled on everything, which again, not fine. But here's where I drew the line: was he cited his mental health, which I am pro mental health. Trust me, pro mental health, and I think it needs addressing and all that. But what kind of fucking precedent does it set? If anything negative you do when you break rules, oh, it's my mental health. Like Jacobs can just allegedly beat his girlfriend or wife, and it's my mental health. I don't keep me in it. Like, no, you can't do that. It just, I don't know. Like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, sorry, it was my mental health. Oh, well, we didn't think about that, Jeffrey. Like, you're free to go. A little extreme, but you can't just cite mental health and just walk away scot free without consequences. Go address your mental health. If mental health is a long term thing, that's 5 years or 3 years or 10, I don't more. So I'm sorry, you can't say it's your mental health, but I'll be fine in a month so I can go play for Texas Tech. Like, I don't want that pussy on the team. Sorry, I said it. Unpopular opinion, popular opinion. We got Will Hammond. He'll be healthy by week 2, week 3. If he's healthy by week 1, watch him in the Heisman. He'll be top 5 for an undefeated season potentially. But yeah, I think Sorsby made a mistake. Own it, learn from it, move on. I also think him doing this kind of as an NFL GM would scare me away. Like, it's making him seem like very mentally weak. Like, we all make mistakes, but him not owning the mistake and trying to use like this mental health excuse, which is maybe it's not an excuse, but you know what I mean? Like, to try and get around it by citing mental health. It's just a terrible precedent to set because then, yeah, anytime anyone commits a crime, a violation in college sports, NFL, whatever, it's my mental health. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Sorsby, you're gone. Texas Tech, arguing, coaches, boosters. I love it. I just have a thing. It's funny. A lot of like Texas and all these teams are complaining about Texas Tech and it's money and this and it's stupid. Texas Tech. Let me restart. So everyone's hating on Texas Tech because all the money we're throwing around, right? It's funny, especially like coming from Texas. It's funny how you're a Republican or you love capitalism until it doesn't work for you. Like, all of a sudden now, like, a Republican's like, oh no, the money should be equal and shouldn't just be one team. with all this oil money thrown in and blah, blah, blah. It's like, wait, are you like, you can't just pick and choose when you want to be Republican or capitalist or super capitalist. So that just always blows my mind that once capitalism doesn't work in your favor, oh no, we can't have that. One of my many frustrations about the United States. I've got a podcast about the USA that's going to come out in the next few weeks. I don't know, but and I love the USA. I moved basketball, quick hits, Canada basketball. Jamal Murray is now out. We're getting to the NBA Finals, by the way, but Canada basketball. Jamal Murray is out for Team Canada because he can't commit to their 3-year program. He joins Andrew Wiggins and Shaden Sharp. Shaden Sharp, who I love, best dunker in the NBA right now, arguably top 3. This is ridiculous, Canada. This is so Canadian. We're finally good at stuff, and you're putting these fucking rules around our players. And I know Steve Nash is like the head of Canada basketball, so I guess he knows a lot more than I do. But the USA doesn't have these rules, and the USA has more stars. We have no depth. We need our stars. We need every single one. If Jamal Murray wants to just show up to the World Cup, fine. I'm sure he won't. I'm sure he'll still put in the time, the training, come to tournaments when he can. Great. But you can't just make it black or white. It's insanity. We can't lose Jamal Murray. We can't lose Shaden Sharp. We can't lose Andrew Wiggins. It grinds my gears. On top of that, SGA. So this guy, he's going to go to the Western Conference Finals, last year the NBA Finals, next year at least the Western Conference Finals. He's going to be playing basketball for 10 months a year, nonstop, high level, like 100 games a year when you include the playoffs. But now he has to go to every single Team Canada practice and mini tournament and whatever else. And he's got one child. I'm sure another child's on the way. He's going to get older. So if SGA all of a sudden can't commit to every practice in 3 years and we're just not going to have SGA on the team, it's ludicrous. They're grown men. We only have so many superstars. One, let them be like superstars. It's just so Canadian. I was saying how it's funny about capitalism for the Americans and Texas Tech stuff. It's funny about Canadians being like, just they love the rules. So now Canada basketball sucks. I'm off. I'm not off Canada basketball. I'm still going to watch it. We have no big men. We're so in trouble against anyone with size. I went to the Olympics last year. Was it last year? 2 years ago. Watched Team Canada. I bleed Team Canada. All I care about is Texas Tech sports and Team Canada basketball and soccer. I don't care about anything else with whole heart. And Team Canada basketball is just, I thought we were second. For sure we were second. Now we're third or fourth. And without any size, like true legit size, Zach Edey, okay, but I'm not as optimistic. 2 years ago, I was the most optimistic human being and so excited about Team Canada soccer and Team Canada basketball. Number one fan. I've been all around the world to watch them both. I'm now like, reality is set in, which is par for the course for any team I follow. So I'm used to it. I'm in the 18 stages of grief for any sports team I have. NBA, I don't want to get too long on this. We're only 13 minutes in, but this is the last thing before we go to the World Cup. New York, Spurs is going to be great. I hope, as just a sports fan, Wemby never gets injured. I wish we could just wipe out injuries from sports in general. Like the NBA also, they're never going to reduce the number of games. But all the stars that have been hurt in the past 2 playoffs because of 82 plus games and playoffs, and it's just way too many games. And so now we're losing our best players. Like I just want to watch the best players play against each other. I want Ant at full strength. I want Luka and LeBron won this year, probably the last year, they had a chance to play together. LeBron and Luka in the playoffs making some noise. Like, oh, give me that. Where was I going on this? Too many games. Wemby. Oh yeah, just hope Wemby doesn't get hurt. Even though I'm an OKC fan because there's 2 Canadians, including SGA. I call them the Oklahoma City Maple Leafs. Watching Wemby is just, a treat. And I hope he doesn't get injured. I had a decent amount of money on, was it game 3 or 4? Or maybe, I forget. It was one of the games. You'll know the game when I say it. But had a bunch of money on an OKC comeback. I think it was like 8-1 or no, it was way better than that, like 15-1. So $25 to win hundreds of dollars. And we're up. OKC's up. And there's like the kind of the last play of the game. And I'm about to cash out. And I'm like, oh, well, they just got to hit a three. And they're like, the attack's on. And it's kind of an odd number rush. So it's not like, oh, it's easy points. And Wemby pulls up from the logo. And I was like, I hope that goes in. Even though I was going to lose hundreds of dollars as a sports fan, I was like, how sick will that be if that goes in? And sure enough, outrageous. The craziest thing, there's a million crazy things about Wemby, and I'm sure this has been said, and I've said it in some of my group chats, but like Chet Holmgren, second best defender in the whole league, probably will be for a few years or more. All-star, could be an All-Pro, will be a Hall of Famer, NBA champion. He literally looks like nothing next to Wemby. Like this guy, Chet, is not a slouch. He's literally the second best defender in the whole league, and he's everything Wemby would be. It's like he's a Chrysler, and then Wemby's a Maybach. Like it's crazy. I think that's all I had for the NBA. I mean, the Knicks. I think the Knicks, they have a bit of size that can guard Wemby, but also I love their guards. I mean, they're just. It's almost like they've got all the Spurs guards, but older versions and better shooting versions, and a better point guard. So I think Wemby can take over, but if they somehow can just, which easier said than done, lock Wemby up, or at least corral him a little bit, I really like the Knicks. I mean, I think as a just betting, the Knicks were like the Spurs were plus 250 or plus 210 to win. Just from only value, I would completely bet the Knicks. Just that's my 2 cents. Major League Baseball. Moving on. Let's get to the World Cup. We're gonna go through some quick picks, best bet. Sorry, my thoughts on the top 10 teams, some interesting takes, and all that. Oh, quick soccer. PSG won Champions League. I really don't like how PSG can just reschedule their games in like during the season. So I don't know if you know this. I probably should have double checked this, but triple checked. But basically, PSG was able to move one of their league games to have extra rest. And I think the French league is the only league that allows that. I know the EPL doesn't. So they had extra rest, not for the final, but for like earlier games a month ago. I think that's absolutely ludicrous. That should not be allowed. And I'm sorry if I'm not saying it correctly, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. And it's ridiculous. And PSG also plays nobody. I used to have this argument with a friend who's a Barca friend, Ijovi. He'd always say Barca and Real are the best in the world. The EPL sucks. Blah, blah, blah. While Barca and Real are the best in the world or top five, it's like they don't have to play anyone all season. They can rest. When they're up 5-0 on XYZ team, half their players can come out in the 75th minute. Where England, you've got the top 6 teams, like they're playing everyone 80, 90 whole games, extra time. There is no rest. So by the time Champions League comes around, you've got guys playing, Arsenal's playing Man City, and just after playing Man United, and just after playing Liverpool, back to back to back, and then they have to play PSG in the Champions League. As a bad example, because Arsenal they got a little break post league. It wasn't a big break, but more in the group stage. They have to play so many games. Every game's hard. So it's absolutely ridiculous that PSG can kind of rest when they want. And that's also why EPL teams, if you're not a big soccer fan, that's why EPL teams don't win the Champions League as much, because they've just got a gauntlet week in, week out of league play compared to any other league. Extra time. Quick extra time rant. Not going to be a popular opinion. This is maybe a North American way of looking at things. So anyone European or world soccer fans, I'm purists, will hate this. But I think no more PKs. We go NBA style. Overtime keeps going. But here's some wrinkles. There's obviously the first extra time, second extra time, third extra time, you get more subs. Fourth extra time, you get more subs. So, I mean, it's like there's 23 players on a roster in the Champions League. So, I mean, by the third and fourth, you've got new players coming in fresh. And there's multiple reasons I love this. One, PKs are just kind of lame. Two, we'll see some 17-year-old you've never heard of, or unless you're a super fan, maybe something absolutely glorious happens with them. They get subbed in the fourth overtime, third overtime, because all legs are tired, and unlimited subs. So I mean, you get 3 or 4 every single extra time, meaning all 23 players get out there at some point if it goes long enough. So you've got fully rested people. You've got a whole new team playing the next 90 minutes if you wanted to. Rested legs, still exciting, because what happens now, the team that's getting shit kicked holds on for PKs. So packing the box, they're just hanging on for dear life. Overtime typically sucks. I meant to look this up, but we should look this up. How many games in extra time went to PKs? Like what percentage of it? In maybe we'll look at it towards the end, but in Champions League, World Cup finals, how many games actually went to PKs? I would assume the majority of them, because everyone's tired, everyone's holding on. There's not very often people are scoring goals in it, so those extra times are kind of tedious anyways. Let's add fresh legs. I want to see these young superstars. Someone makes a name for themselves being the 19th sub. And one other thing, I don't think this would work because my body's shattered after a game. I can't imagine these guys playing 90 minutes at the top level, no matter what age. But like Dembele is subbed out of the Champions League. An hour of real time, an hour and a half or 2 hours of real time, 60 minutes of a game plus breaks and stuff have passed by. He's been getting IVs, massage. Can we get another 20 minutes out of him? Can we sub him out 75th minute, take a chance, but then sub him back in at the 145th minute? I doubt that part could happen, but that was just another fun wrinkle I had. Again, I'm sure a lot of you purists hate it. That was just my thought. I also had thoughts about Champions League and restructuring as each stage went along. 2 English people, Seward killed me on it. This was 5-6 years ago. Hated it. Stupid. You're an idiot. What happens a year or 2 later? They did my idea. So my ideas are on it. This should happen. Sure it won't. One last thing. 2 last things before we get to the picks. Watching soccer documentaries, this goes back to any podcast you've seen or listened to with me. The World Cup just absolutely screwing fans over. I was watching like the Liverpool documentary and watching other ones where it's so cool to see they'd show, all these fans getting on buses and travel agencies with costs in the windows for cost of ticket and bus and just everyone going there. And it was just this really cool, anyone could afford it. Super fans were going. And now we're just getting further and further away from that. It sucks that 50% of these major games will be just corporations and money and sugar babies and sugar daddies and people who don't actually love soccer. Where before, like the Liverpool Steven Gerrard comeback game, it was just mostly all fans, and it was still expensive, but affordable expensive. Where now it's like no one from England is affording an England World Cup ticket. I mean, 1,000 will, but not like regular people, not super fan regular people. So it's just a shame it's going away from that in all sports, not just soccer, but I thought I'd bring that up. Water breaks, the other thing I hate water breaks. There's so many games where all of a sudden, like, it just, imagine you're making a comeback. But that Steven Gerrard, the Liverpool comeback, if that had a water break, does all of a sudden AC Milan get a second to kind of catch their breath, get some new tactics, kill a lot of the momentum with a break? I think it impacts that kind of, some teams is on fire, making a big comeback. Does it kill this kind of comeback opportunity? Not a ton. It's not the end of the world, but just not a fan of water breaks. All right, let's get into it. World Cup, favorite bets. Getting my notes out for you. Yes, I have notes. We're going to talk best bets. Going to dive in the top 10 teams. Some brutal round of 32 and round of 16 matchups. If like all the chalk, everyone wins where they're supposed to win, it's going to have a rough spot, as well as the finals and semifinals. If the people win their brackets and follow along the whole games and matches along how they should, there's some interesting things like France plays Spain in the semifinal, which I'll get into all this, but definitely worth a watch. You're watching already. It's already been 24 minutes. You're not going to leave now, right? One thing I noticed, like how bad are Haiti, Congo, Jordan, Iraq, New Zealand, Uzbekistan, that they have a 50% less chance of winning the World Cup than Cape Verde. That, like, how bad are they? Cape Verde lives 50% chance, better chance. anyways, I thought that was interesting. To win, here's how you should bet the World Cup to win. Pick Spain or France, whoever you like. I'm torn. I am going with Spain in terms of I know they're going to win one major tournament between this and the Euros in the next 5 years. So I'm just betting them every single year because that gives me 5 chances to get my money back. And I bet they win 2 out of the next 5. They play so well together, even without Yamal. Just the passing, the strategy is outrageous. I love watching Spain. It's insane. Like when they play a team like Europe, it's just hilarious. It's 2 different worlds, even though it is a different style, but still the Spanish style is so much better. So pick Spain or France. Put all your main money on that. Whoever you like. I still love France, of course. I'm torn. It's a tough one. Then take like half that money and put it on like a second team. I say Portugal, Netherlands, or I'm going to talk about this. I've never been on Brazil for a ton of reasons. Brazil is really interesting this tournament. Their odds aren't as great. Like Netherlands has incredible odds to bet on. Like they have a 4% chance if you're using Kalshi to bet, and Portugal I think has a 9% chance or 8% chance, where France and Spain are 5-1, basically 20%, 16%, however you look at it on Kalshi. So I'll get into the Brazil stuff, but Spain or France, all big money, and then choose Portugal or Brazil, and then Netherlands is a nice. You can even choose Netherlands as a third. Like, let's say if you put $500 or $200 on Spain, $50 to $100 on Portugal, and then I think you like $10 or $20 on Netherlands gets you 500. So at least you have that. You didn't really spend a ton. So I think still maybe add a third, tiny money for Netherlands just for fun. So you have 3 teams to root for. Favorite long shot or underdog bets for group stages? Turkey to win their group. Sorry, the USA. I'm not a fan of USA, which we'll get into the reasons why. Turkey has the best player in their group in Arda Güler. Sorry if I messed up pronunciation. He is a wonder kid, outrageous, by far and away the best player on the pitch when they play the USA. And they've got some other really good players around the team. So I really like Turkey. Bet them to win their group. Egypt to win their group. Big fan of Egypt. They have some great players, including Salah, of course. But Salah, sorry. Or maybe I screwed up both of them. I like that. Again, these are underdog bets, so don't be mad at me when they don't win. It's the underdog. Ivory Coast upsets Germany to win their group. I don't see it happening, but there are going to be underdog winners of the groups, so these are the ones I liked. I'm all in on Portugal, as I mentioned, but Colombia is they're tasty. I like them. I still think Portugal is just the class. Maybe Colombia goes all out intense and they beat Portugal. There is a chance of that happening, of course. So if you for some reason hate Portugal, then Colombia is a good spot to go. So Golden Boot, I'd say it's Harry Kane. Mbappe is a favorite right now. I'd put all your money on Harry Kane, just because France has 2 other unreal goal scorers in Dembele and Olise. I'm going to screw up so many names and everything else in this, but Olise, yeah. So I think goals will be spread around a decent amount, where Kane is just takes all the PKs. He's always right down the middle. He's in a true goal scoring number 9 position, where Mbappe plays out on the wings. Sometimes he plays in the middle. Harry Kane's always right in front of the goal. So, and he's just obviously a pure goal scorer. So take Harry Kane, all of the money. England, I have going to the semifinals as well. And I guess he'll play in a third place game. So they're playing all the games. Put all your money on Harry Kane. Love that bet. One small one, but I don't think it's going to happen. But Mohamed Salah, he has like crazy, outrageous value. And I think Egypt's going to go well, into the 16 or maybe 8. Who knows? But they could be this year's Morocco. And he gets tons of goals. So that you can just sprinkle a tiny bit of money on that. But that could be a fun one to look at. Or terrible. But again, don't put much money on it. So let's get into a few team by team synopsis. And we'll start with Brazil. I just never have believed in Brazil since I've been for 20 years, let's say 15 years, 15 years since betting has been a thing in the last 10 to 15 years. I've never been on Brazil. And it goes back to I was in the Brazil for the World Cup. I was there when they lost 7-1 against Germany. And I'm just a big believer in having like a grown man, an adult in the room. That team did not have an adult in the room. They had one, Danny Alves, who they did not play in the 7-1 beating. And I tell you what, if Danny Alves was on the field and 2 goals are scored and definitely a third goal, someone's getting a cleat into their ankle and someone's getting a foot up their ass on his team. Like, he's gonna fucking kill someone. He's not losing 7-1. It'd be better if he wasn't an outside back and he's a center back, but still. Want to know who they did have? David Luiz. Here's my question. I'm gonna cut this out as a short. Who is the most annoying soccer player of all time? Most annoying that everyone hates. And not even hates, because you could obviously put in, there's a lot of people who are jerks in their playing days that a lot of people could hate. Most annoying footballer of all time? Answer: David Luiz. He is just the hair. If he didn't, the hair just adds more focus on him. But he scored like one good free kick goal in his entire career early on, and then he was just taking every free kick, and he never scored again. He did his little hand thing behind the back. He was like one of the first people to do that, but he did it in a really stupid manner all the time. Like, dude, just keep your hands by your side so you can move. He would do it where like it took away all his movement. Like he was moving at 75% of what he could instead of 100%, because he would tie his own hands behind his back and like hold on to them. It was so stupid. He's so fucking stupid. I hate David Luiz. And yeah, and he was the leader or a leader of that team that lost 7-1, and that's exactly what I would expect from a David Luiz team. He's the most overrated, most annoying player of all time. Let me know who you think yours are. Of course, there's the biter that nobody likes, and a lot of other people are just assholes. But in terms of annoying, he's my number one. So the reason I brought that up was because Brazil just has never, to me, had a legit couple big adults in there, like a Van Dijk or I guess Netherlands hasn't won recently, but this most teams just always have a big, like Piqué and Rodri, just kind of a physical, strong, older adult in the room. And Brazil's never had that since betting was a thing. They've had bits and pieces here, but now it's like prime. This might be the year I actually bet on Brazil. Defensively and in the midfield, we have some older, wiser players. We got Marquinhos. Gabriel was not older, but incredible talent, one of the top defenders in the world, which I feel they haven't had for some time. Casemiro is in the best form in 5, 6, 7 years, just playing outrageous. Again, just a proven winner. Love him. Bruno Guimaraes was injured a lot of the year. At the start of the year, he was the best player in the EPL, or top 3. Paqueta, he's always a good, solid player when he's in form. We've also got an older, wiser Neymar. Before, I felt like he was just a black hole. They're always looking for him. He would over dribble, try to do too much. Now we've got this older version that I think is really going to accept a super sub role, guide players, be a great captain. He's not even a captain, but be a great mentor to the players. Come on, do some outrageous stuff. So I love it now that he's kind of older and probably has been humbled a bit. And I say he's a black hole. I also have always said that he's one of the most underrated passers of all time. When he does pass, the ball is weighted so perfectly. Like, you'll play it into someone's path. And I'm just like, you was thinking of a scorer and dribbler and all else. Yeah, when he passes, oh my God, it is gorgeous. So watch out for that. And then, we've got Thiago, who's a legit number 9. A lot of these top teams don't have a legit number 9, which is the main striker. And so they have that in Thiago. They also got Cunha, who's outrageous. Rayan with Bournemouth's playing really well. And then a goalie. They've got Alisson, who's elite, wise, great with his feet. So across the board, they have just a great mix of young and old. So I'm always down on Brazil. I'm up on them this year. And I may have to just place another bet, even though that would hedge me too much. So I probably can't do that. England. I have a soft spot in my heart for England. I watch all the documentaries. A lot of my best friends and good friends are from England. I have to watch all the games with them. I like them all. But they're always dramatic. Not them. The team is always dramatic. Like they never just do what they should do and keep it quiet. And obviously, the English tabloids make it way worse than it actually is. But just like the not choosing Maguire and not choosing Palmer. Maguire, I don't really know this, but it's just I think he is the perfect English player. Started on a lower club, not really flashy, just works hard, gets in fights in Greece, wins games. He's been like an oddly proven winner. I remember he talked about how like he'd never loses games, and he showed the stats, and it was kind of right. He's been highs and lows in his career, so he is resilient. He's just like someone you'd want on your team, especially England, who's got these issues. And Palmer, while maybe not in the best form like last year, still is a game winner, game changer. And instead, you bring in these players that you didn't need to pick. It's like you needed to pick Maguire and Palmer. Foden, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I would add Foden too. But at least these two, like you have to add them to your team. You didn't have to add these other, like there's 4 players that you didn't have to add. They would have been like, you know what? The tabloids would have been like, you know what? Your fans would have been like, you know what? The other players on the team were like, it's okay. They got next year or next time. But you left out like a heart and soul type player, and you need central defenders. And you left out a Palmer. It's just they try to outsmart themselves. The English coaches, like with the Beckham incident, with that cunt coach, everyone tries to outsmart themselves. Like they know more than everyone else. It's like, it's funny, not talking about Manchester United too much, but Carrick, what he did, he just saw the best players he had on his team and he played them. He didn't play mind games. He didn't try to fit in my style or else, which, a coach like the best coaches in the world can do that, of course, like fit in my system. But sometimes you just got to say, all right, here's the position these guys play. Let's give them a platform, but still let them be themselves. And I'm going to play the best players like Mainu and all the players he started playing that coaches before him weren't and started outthinking. Same thing with England. Get your best players, give them a framework, let them be themselves a little bit, unless, again, you're some of the best coaches in the world can make them fit into their scheme, which you always got to make players fit in your scheme. But I'm just saying, don't just try and leave out people like Maguire and Palmer because you're going to outsmart everyone. And same thing with like United past coaches. Just sometimes you just got to play your best players, give them a system, but I don't know, it's not your way or the highway. Let's get into the USA. The poor man's England, always drama. They're just a shitty version of England. And I have a whole podcast why the USA will never win the World Cup or never be successful. I encourage you to listen to that. I think you can just search into the podcast USA or USA Soccer and it'll come up. And there's nothing against the USA team. It's just the expectations on the USA are outrageous for a million different reasons I get to in that podcast, but also just the drama. There's always like US parent drama, which is funny with Reina and Berhalter. And then this year it's kind of like Pulisic with being left out and Pochettino. I hate Pochettino. And here's why. And this is pro USA. He's a coach with his foot out the door currently. He was never like, I'm watching Steve Kerr for Team USA basketball. Both Canada basketball coaches and the soccer coach. One Spanish, Fernandez, the basketball coach. The other one's, as we know, is American. Both. I love Canada. I'm Canadian. I'm fighting for my hearts here. Even if they're 20% line, that's fine. They're saying it. Like, they're bought into this country. I love Canada. Like, they're just feeling the vibe of the country, which any coach should do. Pochettino is like it just feels like another step for him along his coaching tree. And not even seems it is. He's like, you know what? I'll do this for a few years and then I'll move on to a job. So he's already he's accepted another job, or he's like on the way to accepting another job. He's got his foot halfway out the door in the World Cup. It's just, and I'm not a big fan of Pulisic, we'll get into, but still playing the shit he's doing with Pulisic, or Pulisic, it's just Pulisic not wanting to play, as well as just, I don't like any of it. It's going the wrong direction for the USA. And I'm going to be critical of Canada, by the way, so don't think this is just anti-US. Pulisic, I think, also is very overrated. He was nothing in the EPL aside from one game against Liverpool where he scored a few goals. Aside from that, he did nothing. He was non-existent. He's a great 10 on like a championship team or in Syria, which is where he is now. He's playing. It's a retirement league. It's where everyone goes to retire, if not the MLS. It is not a good league whatsoever. People try to argue it. It's not. The leading point getters are 40 years old every single year and came from the EPL. Like Lukaku was killing it in Syria. He was kicked out of the EPL multiple times. Yeah, and Pulisic can't score against good teams either. He finally scored recently in their friendly against Senegal, was it? But aside from that, he scores against Jamaica, like a sick goal against Jamaica. Cool. He never scores in big games against big teams, and I just think he's a good player that can only play at a certain level, but you can't take your team to round of 16, and none of the U.S. can. Everyone always says, "Oh, we were so good back in the day." No, you never had a dynasty. You had like a one good little blip, and then 4 years nothing, and then another good blip. Not 4 years, like 8 years nothing. It was crazy how the old heads are like, "Oh, we used to be so much more." It's like, no, like look at the actual stats. You weren't. You had one good showing, and that was it. And then like 10 years later, you had another kind of blip showing. It's not sustained success. It's I so don't hate on this year's team either, which I'm doing. But USA has never been good. That's the thing. Stop putting pressure on the USA fans. You're not good. And that's fine because your best players play two other sports. But first and foremost, if we had all your best athletes just playing soccer, like a lot of these other countries, and only caring about soccer and only put a foot on the ball when they came out of the womb, yeah, you would dominate soccer, but that's not your country. So it's okay that I'm saying you're not good because 75, 80, 90% of your best athletes don't play soccer. So stop thinking that you guys are good. Stop putting pressure like you should go beyond the round of 32. You're not going to. You're not going to win your group. You might win your group. You're favored to win your group, so it's not. Don't come in my comments. Oh, you said you win your group. And also backup Pulisic. I think he's your fourth best player. I'll take Tyler Adams. I'll take Anthony Robinson, hands down, over Pulisic. And then I will also take Weston is in better form. McKinney's on fire. So Pulisic, not your best player, doesn't play in well against good teams or in good leagues. And the other thing that USA always has, they're always injured. Now as Canada, as a Canadian, I can't really say that because our team is and our best player is always injured. So now I take that back. But I used to love the USA because on paper your team was 10 times better than Canada's. But when it came time to play, like 3 of your 7 best players are always hurt. So that was always nice. That's my USA. Good luck though. Canada, friendly against Uzbekistan. Terrible first half with our starters. Uzbekistan easily could have been up 3-0. Also, is it Uzbekistan? Quick racial thing. It's weird. Like they look more East Asian than like from the stands. And it's I need to watch more history documentaries and maybe just a map. But that was interesting. Like you never know how people look. And then I started thinking, what does Stan even mean? And then I thought, have you even thought what Stan means? Like Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Kirgizistan. Have you ever thought that or not? And you're a racist. Or maybe you do know, and I'm the only person who doesn't know. But if you didn't know, I searched it for us. So Stan just means like state or land of. So land of Pak, whatever Pak means. Now I'm racist again. Uzbekistan, land of Uzbek, whatever Uzbeka means. But anyways, yeah, Stan is like state, essentially. State of, land of. So then you put Paka, Uzbek, crap, and all the other stands. That's why they're stands. So I hope you just learned something. Or maybe I'm the only idiot who didn't know this, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Back to Canada. Injuries. Again, I said this from the top earlier when I was talking Canada basketball. I just don't have any hope, excitement for Team Canada anymore in either of our sports. I probably see us being second in the group. Switzerland's a solid team. They have the best player in the group, and overall just solid system. We're just too injured. Had we come into the tournament with Bombito, other center backs, sorry, my mind's everywhere. I've got all these notes and I need to do better. Obviously, Davies is injured, and Promise David's injured, and our right back who plays for Celtic is injured. Everyone's injured. And sorry, I'm not using names and my mind's everywhere trying to remember all this off the cuff. And I should know much better. But anyways, everyone is not in form. If we were in form, I really liked us to kind of make some exciting news and to make some headway and go to the round of 16, round of 32. Now it's a little bit like, and also watch, if we don't win our first game, it just gets worse and harder from there. So this first game is going to be really important. And watching us against Uzbekistan, we did not look good whatsoever, especially our defense, who haven't, to be fair, they haven't played. Johnson, that's who I was thinking of, Alistair Johnson. They haven't played a lot for some time. So I think injury is just going to take their toll. And what else I have that's bad for us? We lost Flores, and Flores was the only player I've ever seen play that style for Canada ever. He was so exciting and so unique and different, and just watching him and knowing he's the 25th best Mexican player says a lot about how good Canada is. Like, his aggressiveness, how he controls the ball, how he attacks. It's such a interesting juxtaposition watching him play with Canada. Like, what happens if you put Gilberto Mora on Canada? It's just this is not even the level. I'm playing in a rec league in Costa Rica, like towns that play other towns and villages, and the way they play is just night and day from the United States or Canada. It's crazy. But who else do I have? Kone. I have said this on podcast. He's my least favorite player in the world. Definitely for Canada. I don't know about in the world. He over dribbles. He's the only player on earth that I know who over dribbles, who dribbles that much. He takes 17 touches every time he has the ball. Every other player takes 1 touch, 2 touch, or 3 touches. He takes 17. Unless you're a winger that's attacking, you get the ball out on the flanks and you attack, take extra touches. He dribbles the ball from our third to their third. You'll never see it in the World Cup. He'll be the only player who does this, I promise you. And he loses it anytime it's against a good team. You can tell that he used to be like the fastest, strongest player in youth soccer growing up, and in these shittier leagues he's played for. Still plays in some good leagues, but he played in non-major leagues. And the second he went to the French league, his coach just basically had him off the team. It was like he wasn't good enough because he just dribbles and dribbles and dribbles. So he looks good against shitty competition. He's like a poor man's Pulisic, but Pulisic even passes a bit more. So against good competition, he can do his bullshit, but against actual good players, pass the ball, let the ball do the work. Just focus on him, please. Watch how much he dribbles compared to anyone else on earth, especially from center mid. Like I said, if you're on the flank, dribble a little bit. He's in the middle of the park and he's fucking trying to dribble everywhere, not pass the ball. Just clogs. When you pass the ball, you create space. He dribbles towards other players and takes away space. He's the most frustrating player on earth. Another random Canada soccer fact: Alphonso Davies, I had no idea, was from Edmonton. This is maybe the weirdest hometown for a sports star of all time. Even though we know he's not actually from Edmonton, he was, I think, originally from Liberia, then went to Ghana, and then was a refugee from Liberia that went to Ghana that came to Canada. I hope I have that right. But still, let's just say his hometown's Edmonton. That'd be like if LeBron was from Brussels and Kobe was from, I almost said really white, somewhere in Denmark or even Scotland. Yeah, Kobe was just from Dublin or a small town near Dublin. That's what Alphonso Davies, who was at one point was one of the best players in the world at his position. Injuries have drilled him the last couple of years, but that's what Alphonso Davies being from Edmonton is like. It's quite a weird, again, juxtaposition of a player. Last thing on Canada, I think Kreppel secured a starting job. I was always Team St. Clair. He was always in better form. He was winning more awards. He was one of the best player, the best goalie in the MLS. But just when it comes to the national team, it seems Kreppel just has a bit more confidence or team confidence in him. St. Clair's had some rough PK appearances, which weren't fully his fault. So I think it's rough on him. A lot of people love to hate on him, and they love Crepeau. I'm not gonna say it's racist. I'm not gonna say it's not. That you don't know what Stan is, and you don't like Dane Sinclair. Guess what you are. Where do we go next? Portugal. Love Portugal. Nothing to do with the Ronaldo. Not one. This whole time, I've never been like, oh, Ronaldo matters for the past 4 years or 5. Their team is outrageous. They've got, I'll make sure I don't miss anyone, but we know they've got Vitania. We know they've got Bruno, both in some of the best form and best players in the world right now, by far. Vitania just won Champions League. Bruno, was he the EPL Player of the Year? I think so, right? They've got João Neves, strong defense with Diaz, Nuno Mendes of PSG also, Yao Consuelo, Diego Costa, great goalie, Ramos from PSG up front. They've got Bernardo Silva. So I'm just making sure I don't miss players. They've got everything. And the number one thing they have, they're playing for Diego Jota. Portugal there's always a team that has this thing that brings them together. And Diego Jota, he passed, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, passed away very sadly 9 months ago, however long ago it was. And watch them rally around him, the country rally around him. There's going to be cameras to his daughter or to his wife and to his kids. A team and a country needs something to rally around, and this is the number one thing a team and a country has. That's why I told you pick Portugal to win the World Cup. Outrageous team, all in form, some of the best players in the world, nothing to do with Ronaldo, something to play for. Portugal will win the World Cup this year. Germany, I don't really get it. They've lost me the most money, them in Belgium, over the past 10 years. I just don't get why they're not good. They have some outrageous talent. A lot of them all play together on the same teams, but just recently it just hasn't been there. It's been very weird. I don't have a reason. I'm staying away from them until they prove me otherwise. I'm still taking them to win their group, although I did say Ivory Coast could upset them. But I'm not taking them. I think I have them going to the quarters or something, but not the World Cup final. Stay away from them. And I apologize if they win the World Cup. I don't think they're going to. France, there's nothing really to say about them. One of the top 2 teams in the world. Mbappe, interesting. I guess he won the World Cup in 2018, but there's that story about how he left Real and they didn't win for 2 years, and then they won the 2 years without him. And then he left PSG to Real, who beat him and had 2 Champions Leagues before he got there. And then since he left PSG has won 2 Champions Leagues without him. So if he didn't have that World Cup win, then I would have said, that's kind of like not a good thing you want over your head going into the World Cup. But anyways, I got to breeze through the last few teams. Netherlands, outrageous team. I really like them. They're just missing a true number 9 striker. But I love Virgil back there, center defense, huge leader. Can will his team to win. Great team across the board. So I like them, like I've told you before. Croatia, I count them out every year, aside from like 2 years ago. 2 World Cups ago, I think it was, I had them going deep, and then they didn't. And then last year, they screwed me. Last World Cup, they screwed me, so I didn't put them in. And then, of course, they go on the run that they did. But I counted them out because I thought they were getting too old, especially with the Modric, their best player, getting old. But they keep proving people wrong, so it'll be interesting to watch. Who is the most disappointing team of all time in sports? I'll go first. Belgium. Their golden generation. 2 of the best players to watch of their generation, De Bruyne and Hazard. And they just never did anything. I lost a ton of money on them. And Lukaku always showed promise, but they never had promise. So anyways, never ever bet on Belgium. They're trash. Canada should have beat them last year in the first game. Canada beat the shit out of Belgium. And then Alphonso Davies missed a PK, which I have no idea why he took the PK. What was the coach thinking? What was he thinking? It was a terrible shot. So anyways. Mexico. I mentioned before Gilberto Mora, best young player in the tournament, one of them. So keep an eye on him. You'll see he just separates himself from anyone on the Mexico team and typically on the entire field. I think, every chance to round of 32, round of 16, maybe they get spicy and go deeper, but don't expect too much from them. I think I covered most of the main teams. Argentina. I don't think they're going to win. Could they go to the semis? Absolutely. Quarters, definitely. But I think they have some tough round matchups, and I had to choose between them and someone else, and I just didn't put them there. As you know, Messi's getting older, and still a solid team, but I don't rate them as high, and especially if we're betting on their odds anywhere near some of the other values I like. Brutal matchup, brutal matchups in the first round of the knockouts. Canada gets a nice little matchup versus Czechia, hopefully, if we made it. And that's when we finish second. If we finish first, it's even easier. Mexico versus Senegal in the round of 32. Tough for both teams because they're both that perfect kind of tier 2 team that could make some waves, and one of them's going home right away in the round of 32. USA, I should have mentioned this when I talked to the USA. If everything shakes out how it should in their group, they basically waltz to the round of 16 or the quarters. It's oddly set up. I will say if the USA plays half decent and makes it this far, it's because their matchups are ridiculously easy of who they could play. Um, you know, did we uncover some nonsense from FIFA? USA, hey, can we have the World Cup if you give us the easiest schedule in the entire tournament? I think so. I'm going to say, yeah. I think this is absolutely. We know FIFA is fraudulent. We know it's trash. And I think this happened. The USA, honestly, as I was saying, they won't make it far in the bets, but actually, I think they could make it far purely from an absolute breeze through the round of 32 and round of 16 games that they play. Or at least they get a decent matchup in all of those. Round of 16, Germany and France are on a collision course. I already told you Germany I was done with. I feel bad for them because that's a tough matchup in the round of 16. Those are two heavyweights, even if Germany hasn't been a heavyweight recently. If everything goes to plan with groups and everything, I think they play each other round of 16, and that sucks. Croatia, Spain. I have them if Croatia doesn't win their group, Croatia, Spain ends up round of 16. So either way, I think in round of 16, Spain will play either Croatia or England. I'm pretty sure. So that's brutal for Spain. Like to round of 16, they have to play two of the best teams in the world, right? So that's a really tough draw for Spain versus what some of these other teams like Canada, I think would play Czechia in the round of 16 if they both made it. No, that was in the 32. Maybe that was, I think it's 32. That may be the 16. Ridiculous. If it is. I should have researched this, made sure, double check my notes. England waltzes to the quarterfinal. Really easy matchups until the quarterfinals. And a lot of Euro teams have brutal paths where the USA and England have super simple paths. Anyways, quarterfinals. If everything goes chalk, France plays Netherlands. Rough on Netherlands. But I mean, at this point, you got to play someone good, so it's not really rough. Brazil plays England. I had England when I first did my bracket. I may change it to Brazil. Now that I've just did the talking points I did about them, has reinvigorated me about Brazil. I'm changing that. Brazil beats England. Argentina, Portugal. This is where Argentina says goodbye. Portugal, I just love them. And then Spain versus, who knows? It could be Croatia. It could be England. It depends how that group works out. But I got Spain advancing no matter what. But Spain has a hard round of 16 and a hard quarterfinal and a hard semi. And then they make it the final. So their semi would be France versus Spain, England versus Portugal. This may make me rethink my Spain bets. Now I've even talked this out for a third time to myself. But Spain has just a brutal gauntlet. France does too, to be fair. France, Netherlands, France, Germany. Never mind. France, everyone has a rough go, right? But yeah, you got France, Spain, England, Portugal semis. That's it. I got to get to my physical therapy appointment. Quick TV shows. Dutton Ranch, outrageously good. Love it. I'm all on board. Where do they find these blondes from over and over and over? Like an eye for talent. You know what I mean? Madison, another Yellowstone spinoff, super slow. It's like Little Women Part 2. I never watched Little Women. The Madison is how I would think Little Women would be. If you're a female, best show on earth right now. If you're male, I'm 2 episodes in. It's pretty slow. I'm sure it gets better. It's still very slow. It's heartfelt. It's like nice. It's just depressing, slow. Not even heartwarming yet, because like the grandma just calls her granddaughter bitches quite often. So yeah, it's not even like super lovey dovey. There are parts of love. Also, Kurt Russell, one of the worst acting job of his entire career. I think they use it because his voice is good with the voiceovers and the storytelling after what happens with him. Hopefully, I didn't just ruin stuff for you. But the first part that he's in, the first episode, he's just like very annoying and like overacting. And I'm not, who am I? I'm not Siskel and Ebert. But I think to me, he's a really great actor, right? And he just was weird. Michelle Pfeiffer, it's crazy. Like, I know I'm getting old when Michelle Pfeiffer is like Kurt Russell's 75, I think, and Michelle Pfeiffer is 65. How is Michelle Pfeiffer 65 or 60? That's She was one of the hottest women on earth at one point. Now she's still beautiful. Anyways, Fraser LeVay podcast. Go get the Learn with Lukai book series. World Cup. Maybe we'll follow up with some stuff. I have a bunch of travel things I need to do soon, so we'll get those going. Enjoy the World Cup. Talk to you later.